All right, it says I'm live, so if you can hear me, let me know. I see we almost have like 70 people already. We didn't even start. That's pretty awesome. The chat looks pretty busy as well. Goodness. Glad everyone's excited. I know everyone loves Talladega, so. All right, anyway, just let me know if you can hear me. I know this is a little bit of a delay, but I'm looking at the chat right now. Just wait here a second. Hear me? Dude says you hear me? All right. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to scroll up the chat a little bit, and oh my gosh, there's so many people here already. That's awesome. Everyone loves Talladega. I see Mike's here. Awesome. Shout out to Mike, by the way. He won like $20,000. He tweeted at me. I forget what race it was. Was it Martinsville, I think? Either way, he crushed it. So shout out to him. As long as it's the same guy, I assume it is. Chris, hit the like button for the NASCAR go. Appreciate that, Chris. And if you could leave a like, I really do appreciate that. Good morning, Ignacio, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Yeah, for sure. If anyone in here is a father, happy Father's Day. Mike says some of his lineups are over 10,000 on the table. Yeah, that can happen, certainly at Talladega. All right, I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. Hello, Conscious. Hello, Dave. What's up? So, hello, Darren. What's up, everybody? Let's see. Cool. What's up, John? Today should be a great day. Makes me wonder how Newman will be at a super speedway after that. Yeah, I had that thought, but he's just so good at super speedways. I think he will be fine. All right. What's up, everybody? Letting everybody roll in really quick. Hello, Andre. I'm your NASCAR hero. Appreciate that. What's up, Sean? What's up, Dude? What's up, Dustin? 19, 24, and 48 all failed inspection so far, says Dustin. Is that true? I mean, I don't really like any of those guys, so it doesn't really bother me. But it's a super speedway, so it's not like it really matters anyway, whoever fails inspection. All right, just letting everyone roll in, then we'll get talking about some stuff. I see Sarah's in. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Nick. Hello, Stubb. Never been so nervous about cash left on the table. Yeah, one of these weeks, it's just one of those weeks that you're going to have a bunch of cash on the table. You should feel totally fine. Tony Carroll's in here. What's up, Tony? Oh my gosh, Mike. Wow. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Thank you for everything, Chris. Great job. Sorry I missed doing the last week. No, that's certainly okay. Thank you for stopping in, and thank you for the $100 donation. That's amazing. That's something I expected for sure, but really do appreciate that. Certainly didn't have to do that. But congrats on your big win you had. Mike, is Bella must play or will be too high owned? Honestly, he's like a must play, but I'm not saying you should play like 100% of him in tournaments. I'm going to go into the slate in a little bit. I'm just letting people roll in, just saying hi to everybody. What's up, Casey? What's up, Gilbert? I know Gilbert's been around here for a long time, so nice seeing you in here. Easy says Mike got them bands. Yeah, he does. He won $20,000, I think a couple of weeks ago. I think it was Martinsville, I think. I was right behind him. But I was in a big tie, so I obviously didn't win 20K, but Mike just absolutely crushed at that slate. Michael says, what is the max exposure you will have on any one driver? I think it just depends on how aggressive you want to be. Like if you, like say your Gaughan's your favorite driver. He's very safe. You could go 90% Gaughan, but look, if he wrecks early, I mean, you're probably not going to make the optimal. He's going to be safe, but I think anywhere from 60-ish% is fine if you're high sky, because you don't want to just be even on the field with everybody. You got to take some stands, but you don't want to be overly aggressive or one wreck will ruin your entire day, if that makes any sense. What's up, Tyrenzo, if I'm saying that name right? What's up? What's up, Mark? What's up, Tim? Old man is here. Nice to see. Glad to hear. What's up, Chuck? Oh, your first live show, Chuck. Welcome in. Thank you for following me for a while. Mr. Miyagi, everyone is sleeping on Timmy Hill after yesterday. Hey, I like Timmy Hill today. All right, so before I answer some questions, I just want to go over who I think is going to be the highest owned drivers. And let me just see how many people are in here really quick. And Nick said, before you get into any drivers, any thoughts on DK contests you prefer? Would you lean multi-entry or single? Oh, I would definitely lean multi-entry today because, look, you can't predict Talladega. Anyone that tells you that you can predict Talladega is lying to you. But you can set yourself up here with optimal lineup construction. Like, I have no idea who's going to finish up top, and I have no idea who's going to wreck. But if you build your lineups optimally, like having guys from the back and a mixed bag of guys in the front, you can set yourself up for success. And I think building multiple lineups this week increases your chances because, you know, if you have a clean, like if you have 6 drivers that are clean to not wreck, you're going to be looking pretty good, if that makes any sense at all. All right, so let me just check and see how many people are in here. Let's see. 167. Okay, I'm going to talk about who I think is going to be the highest owned drivers really quick, and then go from there. Then I'll answer a bunch of questions. So, first off, I think the highest owned drivers are going to be Christopher Bell, Ty Dillon, and Brendan Gaughan. I think those are going to be the big three today. They're extremely safe plays. Christopher Bell is starting 35th. He's expensive, but pricing does not matter at all. You can build whatever lineup you want today. And starting 35th, Christopher Bell's got a good name, so I think he's going to be extremely high owned. Brendan Gaughan, I've talked him up a ton. I have no idea how much I affect ownership in the slightest, but I do like him a lot. I've been saying I love him all weekend, so that might boost him up maybe just a very, very tiny bit. But I'm sure everyone else likes Gaughan too. I mean, he's the safest play in the slate. He's starting 39th. He always tends to do good at super speedways. He's got an average finish basically in the 20s, which is very good. And he's got top 10 potential. We've seen it multiple times. At Daytona, he finished 7th, starting 39th. He's 7,600. He honestly should be around 10K. He's, in my opinion, the best play in the slate. So Brendan Gaughan, I expect him to be very high owned. Then Ty Dillon, he is just a master at the super speedways. He's got an average finish of 12.7 at them. He is starting 33rd. And at Talladega, he is finished in the top 20 100% of the time his race is there. So starting 33rd, I expect him to be very, very popular. And I also think Ryan Preece and Daniel Suarez will also be very popular. So people playing cash games, I assume they're going to start their lineups with Christopher Bell, Brendan Gaughan, Ty Dillon, Daniel Suarez, and Ryan Preece. All those guys start in the 30s. And did I just name 5 guys? And if I did, the next guy I think people might play is maybe a Stenhouse, or they just might throw in another guy in the 30s like Yaley, Gase, or maybe even the 40s and Smithley. So, yeah, safest way to go this week in cash games is just to stack the back because there's going to be Rex guys. That's just what happens at Talladega. And one thing I should mention is, look, your lineups are probably going to be toast most of the day. So don't tweet me mid-race that this strategy sucks because, look, it's going to look like it sucks for a long time, but they tend to race more aggressively near the end of the race in stage 3. And at the end, someone's going to throw a stupid block or an aggressive move, someone like Logano or something, maybe Stenhouse, and the whole field's going to wreck. And then after that, it's more of a domino effect because, a few laps left. Yeah, we might see multiple restarts at the end. So don't fret if your lineups suck most of the day because they're probably going to. But at the end of the race, the big one's probably going to happen. If it happens earlier, I would hope for that because the more wrecks, the better for me because I have most of my guys starting from the back. But just at the end of the race, that's when I would expect the wrecks to happen. So don't fret if your lineups suck most of the day. It's probably going to happen. But at the end of the race, you should be okay. That's just usually how it goes. But for some tournament options for guys that are starting up top, I think Joey Logano is going to be very popular. He is starting 9th. And he's just a really good driver at super speedways and Talladega in general. He's been in the optimal lineup here 5 out of the past 8 races, despite starting up top. He has led the most laps here. He has the most wins. He's got the best driver rating. Team Penske just crushes here. Team Penske has been in the optimal lineup here 7 out of the past 8 races. So him, Logano, and if you don't know who is in Team Penske, it's Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, and Ryan Blaney. All drivers are very good here. All those drivers have wins here. So yeah, and other guys I think are going to be popular. I think Chase Elliott's going to have some ownership. He's pretty good at super speedways. Ryan Blaney should have some ownership. I know there's a lot of questions, so I'm not going to talk too much about the slate because I already talked about this in my preview video. If you guys want to watch that, feel free to do so. And I think it's going to be the most popular video I've ever posted. It's almost at 4,000 views, and we still have a few hours to lock. So appreciate everyone that tuned in this week. I know Talladega is a very popular race, but yeah, I think Elliott, Logano, Blaney should have ownership. And then Stenhouse should have a lot of ownership as well. I love Stenhouse this week. I think it's a very good play. And I know it's scary playing Stenhouse, but this is just one of those tracks he loves. He loves super speedways, and specifically Talladega. He's finished in the top 5 40% of the time the past 10 races. He gets up front, lead laps. So I do like Stenhouse, even though he's going to be popular, which, people are popular at super speedways. You can make a case to go underweight on them, but there's just some guys this week I don't want to. Like, look, Bell's going to be very popular. You could go underweight on him, but you could also go overweight on them on the field, and if he crushes, you're going to be looking pretty good. And if he does crush and you went underweight, it's not going to be looking too good, but it could go either way. It just depends on your play style, but I tend to eat chalk a lot. I don't know, I'm a chalk donkey, I guess. But yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about. Then I think guys in the 6K range that are starting up top that could be good tournament options are Ryan Newman, Eric Almirola, but you guys already know that, so I'm going to stop talking about this, and I'm going to chat with you guys and answer some questions because I'm looking at the chat, and there is a lot going on here. So, all right, so if you guys want to ask some questions, I will answer them now. All right, let's see. All right. Conscious says play Ricky Bobby. I was watching that last night. Had to get my head in the right state of mind. So I was watching Talladega Nights last night. Let's see what's going on here. CJ says let's get this money. I agree. All right, let's see. Where's the questions at? Okay, so Stubbs says never been so nervous about cash left on the table. And that is certainly fine. At super speedways, the average, since 2016, the optimal lineup here has used 46,000 salary, which is about 4,000 left on the table, and that was before they started pricing up these place differential guys. So it's probably going to be a little bit less this week, because I know sometimes I've had like 10 to 15,000 left over, like previous Daytona races. But since the guys are priced up a little bit, I think you're probably going to be maxed out around 10K left over. Then you're probably going to be in that 1 to 10K range. But yeah, leaving salary on the table is what you should do at this track. Let's see. Where are we at? Okay, so Chris says, wouldn't the failed inspection guys be more important since they will now start in the back? No, because they will keep their original starting spot unless for some reason that would change. If they happen to change their starting spot and start in the back and be scored from the back, yeah, they'd become some of the best plays in the entire slate, but I believe they would keep their same starting spot. If that's news and someone could let me know, please do, because I'm not on Twitter able to look at the news right now since obviously because I'm on live. All right, Greg says, do you think the top drivers are automatically 1 through 12 changes stack the back a bit this year? I do not, because these are the kind of guys that tend to wreck. Like, they're the ones being aggressive, they're the ones making bold moves at the end of the race, and these are the guys that tend to get their cars torn up because they're trying to win the race. And then those back markers, they're just chilling in the back, and then when those guys wreck, they move right on up. It's exactly what Corey LaJoy does pretty much every time. Hugh says, going to be interesting today, new package, no track time, wreck fest, hopefully. Yeah, and they're doing this in the summer. Usually it's in the spring and fall, so it's going to be a hot track. I don't know what the temperature was. I'm assuming it's around 90 there. So it's going to be hot, and it could definitely be a wreck fest. Or they could take it cautious at the beginning. I'm not sure, but either way, I think it's going to be your typical Talladega race. Michael says, is Priest the best of the low 6K options? Better than Custer, Almirola? Yeah, Priest is the safest. I think Almirola's amazing tournament option because the guy is just really good at Talladega. It would not surprise me if he ended up winning the race. But Priest is the safest. I mean, he has, 2 races at Talladega? Yeah, 2 races. He's got an average finish of 10.5, 55 Draftkings points. I mean, yeah, that's due to just him avoiding the wrecks, which he could easily get into a wreck today. But starting 31st, he is very safe in that low 6K tier. Let's see. Goombas says, how do you think Ryan Preece's ownership will be compared to other drivers in the 30s? So the guys that are starting in the 30s, I think that Brendan Gaughan will be higher owned. I think Ty Dillon will be higher owned. I think Christopher Bell will be higher owned. I think he's going to be close to Suarez, but I still think Suarez will be higher owned than Ryan Preece just because he's starting 37th compared to 31st. But I think Preece is going to be the 5th highest owned guy in the 30 starting range. Nick says, Xfinity set a tone yesterday with those wrecks late, as always. Yeah, it was a pretty clean race, I heard. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing because I'm not too into Xfinity. I mean, I'll look at Xfinity when I have to for, rookies and stuff. But, yeah, it was pretty clean. And then at the very end, you already know, you get the big one. So, it's usually what happens. Sean says, Almirola, Gaughan, Bell, Logano, Priest, Ty. What you think, Chris? I think that's pretty good lineup. I probably have that. I would be surprised if I don't have that in one of my 150 lineups. So, yeah, certainly like it, like all of those guys, quite a bit. Tim says, morning. What's up, Tim? What's up, Bourne? Greg says, will Bubba or Newman get that special plate? Special plate. Not totally sure what you mean, but I think both are fine plays. Newman is just really good at super speedways. He's got the best average finish at them of 8.7. And Bubba, I like Bubba. He's starting 24th. I think he's going to have no ownership, but, I mean, I don't love it. I mean, he's got an average finish here at 24.5, but it would not surprise me. If he stays clean, he could easily get a top 15, but he's just not someone I'm too interested in today. Dustin says, Harvick going through tech now. Just let me know if you guys can give me updates on tech. If people fail, let me know. Mike says, I'm afraid I have too much BJ McLeod. Yeah, I don't have much BJ McLeod at all, just because I think there's better guys in the 30s. But one way to get different on this slate, because I know some people were telling me they're afraid to stack the back because I think everyone's going to stack the back, which is true. Most people will stack the back, but not enough people do it to where it's like unprofitable. Like there's still people that are going to play all the front guys in one lineup because they just don't know how to play. And I think there are a lot of casual people are going to play today because, there's really not much other sports going on besides golf. UFC was yesterday, and it's Talladega 500. It's Father's Day. Maybe they're just positing for the first time. So probably going to play the drivers they know. I don't think a lot of people that are new are going to try to stack the back today, and they're certainly going to want to even out their salary. So these guys in the back, they tend to be lower owned than they should. Because, really, like we'll see Truex probably have a good amount of ownership, which, in my opinion, is one of the worst plays on the slate. But I lost my point. If you want to get different in the stack the back strategy, you play the guys with no names. You play BJ McLeod, you play Timmy Hill, you play Garrett Smithley, Yaley, Gase, Greg Golding is not in the 30s. He's the other guy. Quinn Houff. So that's one way you can get him different. Robbie says, got $50 in and just signed up on Patreon a couple of days ago. Awesome, Robbie. I think I remember someone named Robbie signing up, so I do appreciate that. Hopefully it goes well today. Hopefully everything I put out helps you guys out. So if you do want to sign up on Patreon, guys, you hit the link in the description below, and you get access to everything I do. Obviously you don't have to, but there's some cool stuff on there I think that should be able to help you out. Blake says, what do you think about Elliott today? I like Elliott. He's one of my favorite front guys. So like Logano, Elliott, Blaney, front guys. I think they're really solid options. They offer you a little bit of PD upside with the race winning upside. So I do think Elliott's a pretty strong play today. Certainly have some interest in him. Mike says 216 people already here. Well, that's awesome. How many people we got now? It's probably a while ago. 253. Awesome. Oh, gosh. Almost to 100 likes. Really do appreciate that. Okay, let's see. Where do we go? Trevor says Corey LaJoie the GOAT today. Yeah, Corey LaJoie has just been very good at super speedways. If we actually look at track type form at super speedways, Corey LaJoie is averaging the most DraftKings points per race at 47.5, which I know John Hunter Nemechek's at 48.5, but that's a 2-race sample size, so Corey LaJoie, bigger sample size, so I'm going to give him the edge there. So Corey LaJoie, technically the super speedway GOAT, technically, for DFS. OS says, how much cash to leave on the table? I have 400 left. Well, I have a lot of lineups. If I was building one lineup, I feel like I'd have quite a few thousand because you're probably starting with Bell, Priest, Suarez, Gone, Dillon, which none of those guys are overly expensive. So, 400 is fine in some lineups, but I feel like you might have a lot of guys starting up front if you only have 400 left, but I could be wrong. So, just let me know. But you can pretty much do whatever you want with cash this week. So, cash on the table. So, just depends on you have in your lineup. Chuck says, how do you set up Fantasy Cruncher this week? Obviously, the optimizer wants to take all players from the back. So, for Fantasy Cruncher, obviously I upload my own projections. I don't use Fantasy Cruncher's projections because, just looking at them this week, they're way off. So I'd recommend using your own projections. But you have to set up build rules. So I did like a 1 through 12 group or 1 through 10 group or something like that. Then a mid group, then a back group. Then you set it to like 0 to 2 drivers, 0 to 3 drivers, and 3 to 6 drivers. So just so you want the optimal lineup construction, because I don't really care too much about projections this week, because again, you can't project this track. Yeah, the guys in the back are going to have higher projections just on average because, guys up front tend to crash out. But it's most important thing is going to be your build rules. So just setting that up like 0 to 2 drivers in the front, 0 to 3 drivers in the mid, and 3 to 6 drivers in the back is what you want to do. And then I actually have a randomness set up. So I think I'm about 20% randomness just because, again, this can be a very random track. Matt says Priest or Smithley in cash. I will go Priest. I know Smithley's like dead last, and the worst he can do is score 4 points today, which is incredible. But Priest has much higher upside, in my opinion. Michael says throw Stenhouse in your lineups, sit back, anxiously drink an entire bottle of whiskey. Yeah, Stenhouse. I think I know he's the kind of guy that you're always nervous to play, but he has just been very consistent at Talladega. Like, I'm not too concerned about Stenhouse this week. Scary as that sounds. Tony says most of my lineups have 1 driver in the top 10 and 5 drivers starting 25 and below. Is this a good strategy, or should I do all drivers below 25? And how risky are the guys starting 14, 15, and 16? No, it's a good way to go because, look, the safest way to go is to stack the back. That's the safest way to go, but it's not typically optimal. Optimal, you're going to want a guy starting in like the top 12, maybe, throw a guy in that 15 range, then a 20, then guys in the 30s. So it's riskier. So that's why in tournaments you want to take stabs at the guys starting up front, like guys like Logano, Elliott Blaney, or whoever you prefer. But I mean, you gotta always have to have a race winner in your lineup to hit optimal. Like I think at the Xfinity race yesterday, Justin Haley, if I remember correctly, started on the pole and he won the race and he wasn't even in the optimal. But a guy starting 9th, 10th, 11th, if they win the race, there's a good chance they'll be in the optimal. So, yeah, if you're trying to take down the tournament, you're going to want to target a guy in the top 10. And how risky are the guys starting 14, 15, and 16? They're pretty risky because, again, there's potential for a lot of negative points there. But there's some guys starting right in that range that are really good at super speedway. So I think they're going to be fine. Conscious says, woohoo. I agree. Woohoo. What's up, Conscious? Brian says, Timmy Hill for cash. Yeah, you can do that. Timmy Hill starting 38th. He's fine. I remember at Daytona this year, I think like in the first few laps, he worked his way all the way up to 10th. I forget exactly how he finished, but yeah, Timmy Hill's fine. Anyone in the back's fine. GQ says, Recce in a race built for Rex. What can go? I know, right? It's weird, but he doesn't really wreck here at Talladega. I mean, yeah, he could cause the wreck, but hopefully he's just wiping the entire field out and he's the only guy left, right? Andre says at least 1,000 left in every lineup. Yeah, I don't know exactly what mine are, but I feel like most of them have at least 1,000 left. I think there's a few that use almost all the salary, but I feel like this might be some aggressive lineups. Mike says he has one with 19,200 left on the table. Oh my gosh, who do you have in there? You must have like some Brennan Poole, Garrett Smithley, Timmy Hill, Yaley Gase, Golding lineups in there, which is fine. I don't think anyone's going to have that, so it could work out for sure. Nothing against that. Marky Mark says, what's your recommended max salary range for today? I didn't actually play with the min or max today because the way my projections were set up, it just gives me kind of what I want, but I wouldn't set a min or a max. I mean, it doesn't really matter this week, in my opinion. GQ says I've got like 9K left over in some FanDuel lineups. Yeah, I don't know anything about the FanDuel pricing, but salary left over this week is what you want to do, and it's one way to have an edge because a lot of people, they want to even out their salary because it feels good to do it, doesn't it? But yeah, that's something you want to do this week. William says, would you play Ricky or Timmy Hill in cash? That is a good question. I wish you didn't ask because now I'm on the spot, and I don't know. That's a tough choice. Ricky has race-winning upside, literally. He's done it before. He's finished in the top 5 40% of the time. Starting 20th, though, he's a little bit risky because if he crashes out early, he's going to get you negative points. Meanwhile, Timmy Hill, the worst he can do is like about 2. So, man, that's a really tough choice. I do think Ricky Stenhouse will be higher owned than Timmy Hill, if that makes you feel better. But the safest option there is Timmy Hill. But Ricky Stenhouse, I will tell you, I have more Ricky Stenhouse than Timmy Hill today, if that helps. But that's really tough. I might stop with Ricky there. But Timmy Hill is he's the floor play. Scott says, starting 15 drivers, risky for cash. You mean starting inside the top 15? Yeah, if you're starting inside the top 15, I'm probably not playing you in cash because I'm very iffy on playing Ricky Stenhouse, and he's starting 20th in cash. So, yeah, I wouldn't start anyone inside the top 15 in cash games. Rick says, what's good? I know Rick's in Patreon. He's always in the Discord chat all day. Look, he's a cool guy. Gerald says, how much should we leave on the table? That just depends on your lineup, because I mean, every lineup's a little bit different. I mean, Bell is 9,700, and then everyone's going to play Priest, Suarez, Dillon. I mean, you're definitely going to leave some thousands on the table this week. Just depends on your lineup build, though. Black Power Ranger says, is your position on stacking Penske the same water gun to your head, to which you stack with Wallace? A water gun to my head. That's not too bad then. Yeah, I like Team Penske, but hopefully you remember when I said that, just to play 2 of the 3. I would not play all Penske cars because I don't want to play 6, 9, and 12 because that's a little bit too high. You can do it maybe in one. If you're bidding 150, you could do it in a couple, but it's really risky to have 3 guys starting inside the top 12, so I'm picking 2. But if I had to pick 2, it's going to be Logano and Blaney just because they have the more PD upside. And then, yeah, that's who I'd pair with Bubba. That's your question. KT says, in a cash game, would you pretty much have your entire lineup in the back, or would you sprinkle some addition? In cash games, just give me the guys in the back. I know it's gross, and I was really tempted with the Stenhouse question, but I feel like the smart answer would be just to stick with guys in the back. And I'm telling you, in cash games, I think everyone's going to play Bell, Suarez, Dillon, Priest, gone for the most part. So I named 5 guys, so you just have to figure out the next guy. Not saying you should just exactly play that lineup, but I'm just saying I think it's what everyone's going to do. It's probably the safe route. Nick says if it gets pushed tonight, would that lead to more? They can't race at night here at Talladega, so it'd just be tomorrow. But I think there's like a 40-50% chance of rain from 2 to 4, I think. So hopefully it doesn't. Tim says Team Penske all year. I've been kind of riding the Team Penske bandwagon this year. I mean, I've liked them in general always, and Ryan Blaney's my favorite driver, but they've been performing. They've been fast all year too. Kenneth says, how come you don't say which one you like out of 6 the most? What? Well, you're the guy that told me that I talk too much, so I'm not even answering you. Jeremy says ownership on Cole Custer. I think he's going to be pretty low owned. I think he's probably going to be below 15%. It's tougher to trust rookies here. I don't know. I feel like he could be a guy that's in the mid-pack, and then he ends up wrecking out. So, but I'm lower on him than the guys in general. But starting 28th, I think he's pretty solid, but he's just one of those guys that's kind of like, I'll throw him in there, but not something I'm too interested in. Andre says, hi. Oh, he's answering Jeremy's question. He could be high. I'm not sure. I think he's going to be anywhere from 10 to 15% owned. I don't think he's going to be. He might push 20, but I don't think it's likely. Jared says, Chris, you're the GOAT. Appreciate it, Jared. You've been here forever. So, nice seeing you, Jared. I don't know if this might be the first time I've seen you in a NASCAR stream. Sarah says, LaJoy. Yeah, LaJoy's fine. Like, he's averaging the most DraftKings points per race at Super Speedway. So, he's fine. He's starting 25th, which is a little bit higher than we usually have him starting. But he's fine. He's a guy you could throw in 15-20% for sure. Adam says, are there any drivers you are crossing off? I mean, guys, just the guys up front. Like, look, they can win the race. Truex, Hamlin, Busch, Harvick, they can win the race. But even if they win the race, there's a low chance they'll be in the optimal lineup, if we're being honest. Like, they have no PD upside at all. So I don't mind. If you want to, you can sprinkle them in. But if you want to cross them off, I think that's fine. I don't care. Let's see. Pecan Pie says, are you more interested in Newman or Elliott? Elliott, just because I think he has better chance of winning the race, but I'm close in ownership on them. Sean says, switched a few guys to split it up, but should be fun, low rolling, but like the lineup too, and it's out of your knowledge, not mine. Awesome, Sean. Hope it works out well for you. Enjoy the race. Doug says, what's up, homie? What's up, Doug? I was talking to you in the comments section earlier this week. Matt, Price, the chat just went all the way down. Hold on, I gotta find it. Matt says Priest or Smithley in cash. I will go Priest. And Wyatt agreed with you. Someone just did another donation. King Hope, first time playing cashing NASCAR DFS was solely because of your con. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, King Hope. Again, you guys do not have to donate to me, but I really do appreciate that. Certainly much appreciated. Thank you, King Hope. Glad you did well. Hopefully you can run it back today. Let's see. Where are we at? Paper says, join the squad, fellas. Hit that page. Yeah. Paper's always been he's been there for over a year now. He was there when I first started it up. So, yeah, he's an OG in there. And nice seeing you in here. Paper. GQ says, thoughts on Hamlin? Seems sneaky. Yeah, he's a guy that can certainly win this race. He's very good at super speedways. I believe last race at Talladega, he started 40th, finished 3rd. But now he's starting 2nd. And even if he wins the race, guys, it's going to be a low chance he even hits the optimal. It's possible if he leads a ton of laps. It's possible. But I need the PD guys. Like, it is very risky to play Hamlin. If you want to sprinkle him in, that's totally fine. He can win this race. He's got 3 top 5s here the past 6 races. He's very good at super speedways. But PD is king here. It's very unlikely when the guy starts inside the top 5, he makes the optimal lineup. Is there exceptions? Yes, Almirola did start 4th and make the optimal lineup before, but it's I'll take my chances. Blake says, how do you feel about Austin Dillon? Bob Pockrass has him in his top 5 picks to win the race. Really? I do like Bob, so I do respect his opinions. I think, look, anyone can get in the top 5 just in the nature of this race, but I think it's unlikely for Austin Dillon. But starting 17th, he's fine. I actually have, I think, a sprinkle of Austin Dillon, but not someone I'm too high on just because of his starting spot. It's really all about starting spots today, guys. Michael says, best up front play out of Elliott, Logano, Blaney. Will Logano be the chalkiest? I think Joey's the best play because I do think he would win the race. If you guys made me bet on who's going to win the race, I would say Joey. But I like Elliott, Blaney too, but I would pick Joey out of that 3, and I do think Logano will be high owned. It would not surprise me if he's close to 30% today. Wyatt says Logano and Elliott will be chalk. I think Blaney third probably. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think Blaney and Elliott will be very close in ownership, but Logano should be the chalkiest for sure. Aaron says 17 left on, oh my gosh, 17,000 left on one lineup. It can work out, guys. It certainly can. I got nothing against it. Wes says I have some lineups with 5K on the table. Yeah, I think a lot of my lineups probably have 5K left on the table. Michael says MDB plus Suarez or Stenhouse plus Priest. Ooh, good question. I'll go Stenhouse and Priest there. I think there's more upside there. But Suarez is a good floor play. But I'll take the Stenhouse Priest side. Frank says 20 lineups. How much drivers would you keep in your player pool? I think anywhere from like 20 to 30 is good this week. I mean, there's just I don't want to play every driver. So, I mean, it's going to be hard to make profit if you play every single driver. So, I think 20 to 30 is a good range. Concha says, will Chevys dominate today? I'm not really sure anyone would dominate today. I'm just looking for guys that are going to finish up front, or just move up, I should say. But Chevys are fine, but I'm not really... I think if anyone's going to dominate today, it's Team Penske. So, Tim says, hit that thumbs up, people, to help Chris out. Certainly will. It helps me out in the YouTube algorithm. I don't know how, but it does. Greg says, lineup was starting only 30 and back. Fan of that? Yeah, you can do that for sure. That would, just off the top of my head, we'd have a Gone, Bell, Suarez, Priest, I don't know, Timmy Hill and Garrett Smith. Yeah, that works for sure. Let's see. WW Fresh says, what's up, bro? Would you recommend going light on entries today since this race will have a ton of wrecks? Well, you could think like that, but I actually think this is one of my... I don't think it is. It's one of my favorite weeks for DFS because a lot of people don't know exactly how to build optimal lineups. Like, there's probably going to be people that are throwing in Harvick, Busch, Hamlin in the same lineup, and you should certainly not do that. Yeah, you could play one in one lineup, but you don't play them all in the same lineup. So I actually think we have a decent edge today. I'm just playing normal anyway. It's not like I'm going heavier than usual or lighter than... I maxed out the $8. I'm not maxing out the $20. I'm not playing $3,000 today, but I maxed out the $8. Wes says, how important is it to have the winning driver in this race? It's, it can help you, but you don't need it sometimes. Like, I might be wrong here, but I think yesterday, Xfinity Series, Justin Haley started in the pole and won the race. Someone told me that. I mean, I saw him win. I just didn't know exactly where he started, but he was not in the optimal lineup, even though he won. So, if Chase Elliott wins the race starting 11th, yeah, he's probably going to be in the optimal, but I do like Chase Elliott quite a bit. Kyle says, any drivers 6,800 and below? Yeah, there's a lot of drivers that like 6,800 and below. I think most of my lineups have guys 6,800 and below. Almirola works, Newman works, LaJoy works, McDowell, Priest. 1,600 is a gold mine down there. Brian says, thoughts on Eric Almirola? I like him a lot today. I think he's a really good tournament option. I mean, if we're just looking at his numbers, I think you guys can see the screen. He's got the best average finish here at Talladega than anybody, averaging nearly 50 DraftKings points per race, has a win. Multiple top 5s, 9 top 20s the past 10 races. Eric Almirola, I think he is going to be a really good tournament option. Starting 15th, he is risky. Don't play him in cash games, but he can certainly be a contender to win this race. Mr. Miyagi says, what about some of the drivers with the backs falling back a few laps early? The thing is, sometimes that doesn't even matter, because if these guys go a few laps down, if drivers crash out of the race, they'll make up those spots after a few laps anyway, so not really too much of a concern. Now, if it happens the big one happens with like 2 laps left and these guys are like 3 or 4 laps down, yeah, it's not going to work, but I think it'll be okay. John says, Chris, thanks for all your hard work on Patreon. Thank you, John. Thanks for being on Patreon. Appreciate that. We're like at 300 people almost now. It's awesome. I didn't know NASCAR would ever get that popular. You like 2 high price like Elliott, Logano, and drivers, all the rest of the back, pack, and large field GP. Yeah, that's fine. I actually have a good amount of builds with like a Logano, a Blaney, Logano, something like that. Now, I wouldn't do that in cash games, but in tournaments, I think that's fine because they can certainly. They're some of my favorite drivers to win the race. Chuck says, what's your unbiased thoughts on Blaney? No, I think he's a pretty good play today. Biasedly, I think that, and unbiasedly, because Blaney is he's a rock star at super speedways, and Team Penske is just very good. I mean, he almost won the Daytona 500 this year, and then I think, didn't he win the last Talladega race, I think? So, yeah, I think Ryan Blaney's an excellent option. He's got one of the best average running positions of any driver at Talladega at 12.9. He has a win, 2 top 5, so I think Blaney is a pretty good play. I know his average finish looks a little rough, but that's due to Rex. Matthews, and it wouldn't surprise me if Team Penske gets up front and goes 1, 2, 3 for a while. Like Joey up front, Kess second, or Blaney third, or just a mix of that. Wouldn't surprise me. And Matthew says, what are your thoughts on Nemechek? He's starting, 22nd, I believe. Where's he at? Yeah, 22nd. He's fine. He's the guy you sprinkle in, but starting 22nd, it makes him riskier than the other guys around him. Like, I'd rather play Timmy Hill starting 38th, even though he's Timmy Hill, but... Brooklyn says, would you limit entries today? What do you mean by entries? Do you mean just like how many lineups you make today, or how many contests you go? I mean, I just playing regular. I'm not like going low. I'm not playing less or playing more. Casey says, who's your favorite mid-range guys like Almirola, Newman, Matty D? My favorite in that mid-range, if you mean like by starting spot, it's going to be Almirola. If you're talking about price-wise, I'm not sure, but I think you mean starting spot. I would say Almirola. Brooklyn says, since this track history... I'm really behind in the chat, so I probably already answered this for you, but I'm just playing normal because I think we have a nice edge on the way we build lineups this week. Chris says, how many Stenhouse crash at... I don't know the exact number, but I'm pretty sure he's completed like over 90% of the laps he's ran here. So, he doesn't typically wreck at Talladega. He's just a guy that usually gets up front and stays up front for a good portion of the race. Goomba says, do you actually consider someone like Bell more risky than like LaJoie because he's good enough to get... Yeah, I know that is a concern, but the starting spot... I mean, look, if Bell crashes, I think his worst case scenario is around 0 points, which if a guy like LaJoie crashed early, which I don't think that's likely because he's the guy that likes to sit and drive around the back and wait for the crashes, but let's just say LaJoie crashed early, somehow he's gotten to the big one, he's a good bet for negative points, but... that is a good reason. I mean, that is good reasoning. I totally understand that because Bell certainly can get mid-pack early on. And I don't think LaJoie probably sits around and drives back. So he could be a little bit more risky, but the starting spot kind of negates that for me a little bit. Now, if they were starting near each other, I think that would probably make LaJoie safer just because he's the guy that will sit around driving around the back, if that makes any sense to you. Reginald says, how do you feel about McDowell on tournaments? I think he's fine. He's starting 26th, right? Starting 26th, he's actually pretty solid at super speedways. I mean, there's guys that are starting further back, like Priest, but he's okay. I wouldn't talk you out of McDowell. I have a decent amount of McDowell today. Mike says, I feel like I'm underweight on Bell. Good or bad move? Honestly, it's just personal preference. If you want to eat the chalk and just go overweight on the chalk, that's one way. Or if you go underweight on the chalk and hope he crashes out. Just depends. Adam says, what's a good lineup for the $20? Well, can't give out lineups, but if you're going to play safe, you start with guys in the 30s, then you could take a stab at a guy up front, like Logano, Elliott, or Blaney. Zach says, who's your go-to starting top 15? Logano. I think he can win the race, but I have a good mixed bag of like a Logano, Blaney, Elliott, those kind of guys. Wyatt says, what do you think about Byron? He's okay. I don't have much of Byron just because he's starting 19th. Which is kind of a weird spot because I don't really want to play anyone starting in that range too much. But in a few races here, he's not had success. He has 0 top 20s, 0 top 15s. So an average finish of 25.8. Yeah, that's getting caught up in the wrecks, but he's not too interesting to me this week. Yeah, I had to go after that guy. Yeah, he told me in the comments on my one video I talked too much, and just to stick to picks, and I just said no. Brooklyn says, yo, would you limit entries today or not, pal? Seems aggressive, but I think I probably answered you. Let's see where we at. Dustin says, Bowman going through tech now. Dustin's my tech guy, so keep me updated. Thank you, Dustin. Boldy says, hit the like button. Do appreciate the likes, guys. Really do appreciate that. Let me check and see how many people are in here. 335, nice. Let me get some water. Okay, Nick says, this is a good question because I get it all the time on Patreon. Hey, Chris, how do I link my Patreon to Discord, or where's the link? Okay, so I had to make my Discord private and set it up where you... sync it up with Patreon. So whenever you sign up, you have to go to your profile settings, then to apps, then you can integrate your Discord with Patreon, but you have to do it on a browser, not the app, and then it'll put you in the private chat. Hopefully that helped you. Ray says, howdy, you are terrible at answering questions. Okay. Adam says, thanks, you're welcome, Adam. John says, I agree, Boldy. Gerald says, what's PD upside? That's place differential. So guys that are starting 30th and back. So Christopher Bell, Timmy Hill, Ty Dillon, Brendan Gaughan is place differential because they can gain spots throughout the race. Chris says, get Ray out of here. Well, we're all entitled to bad opinions, so he can have his own. Wyatt says, oh, the chat just went all the way down. Hold on. Kyle says, I'm your hero. Thank you, Kyle. DFS Pope says, why am I on Kyle Buschbender? My gut says have decent exposure on him. He could win the race. It's just starting in the top 3. Don't really see why you'd want to. It's just, I'd be very, very low on Kyle Busch. Mike says, but PD only matters at the end of the race. You get 1 point per spot you finish ahead of starting and lose 1 point per spot you lose. Exactly. Let's see. Kyle says, thoughts on picking all drivers in the top 20. That in past since 2016, that has not been optimal at all, so I would not recommend that. I'd stick to definitely get some guys in the back. Let's see. Adam says, who should I pick at a free 20? I can't give you a lineup, but hopefully these videos would help you be able to build a lineup. I think I've gave enough information out that would help you be able to do that. Pecan Pie says, LOL, what's up with all the new trolls in the chat? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of ignoring them now. I don't know what Brooklyn's so upset about. I don't even know what he means. Would you limit entries today or not? Natalie says, if it rains out and ends at the halfway point, does this change the theory? Well, that would certainly be a concern, but I think they'll get the whole race in. Andre says, play whoever you want and however many entries you want. Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many entries to play. I don't know your bankroll. I don't know whatever you want to do. Adam says it's first day playing, guys. He only knows Logano. Uh-oh, we might have a little bit of training to do with you. But stick to guys in the back, like guys like Gaughan, Priest, Bell, those kind of guys. Those are your safe plays. Let's see. Gun Ranger says Ty Dillon. Are you asking about Ty Dillon? I think he's one of the best players on the slate. He's been very good at super speedways. He's got an average finish inside 13, which is incredible. It's one of the best average finishes of anybody here. So, I mean, Ty Dillon is a pretty good play. Brooklyn says, what if there is a big crash in the back? Yeah, that would not be fun. It's typically the guys up front that are being aggressive. The guys in the back kind of just ride around for a bit. But yeah, if there's a big crash in the back, I would not be a happy camper. But it's just not typically how it works. Ryan says, good morning, Chris. I probably missed a lot. Yeah, you probably missed a little, quite a bit. We're about 40 minutes in, so. But you can watch it on replay if you feel like you want to. And Mike says a big crash in the back won't cost you as much. Yeah, for sure, because if the guys crash in the back, they're still going to be fine. Like, if Brendan Gaughan crashes first, he finishes dead last, he's getting you 3 points. If a guy like Truex, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin all crash, they're going to get like negative 30. So he can still outscore the guys up front by about 30 points, even if he wrecked first. Greg says the $8 is full already. Good thing I already got all my entries, and I didn't know it was full already. I guess a lot of people are playing for Talladega today. Anthony says, any like on Christopher Bell? Yeah, Christopher Bell is one of the best plays in the entire slate. Probably going to be the highest owned. Matt says, chances of a big wreck today, 30%. I would say it's more than 30%. It typically happens every race, so I'd say it's very, very likely. Scotty says, got my 20 max in. Awesome. Hopefully it goes well. Sack says LaJoie versus Almirola. Ooh, that's a really good question. The safe option is LaJoie, but if you want more upside, you go with Almirola because he could win the race, while LaJoie is more than likely not going to. But LaJoie starting further back, which makes him safer because he's a guy that rides around in the back. But Almirola, he's got race-winning upside. So, in cash, I'd side with LaJoie. In tournaments, Almirola. Brian says weather may change the outcome of this race. Yeah, hopefully not. I can't predict the weather. NASCAR's been getting pretty lucky with weather so far this season. There's been rain in the forecast pretty much every single time. And for the most part, they've been able to race. Adam says McDowell Priest with Almirola. Yeah, that works. GQ says LaJoie going to end it by him. If they get near each other, it might get ugly quick. Like, that has been quite a thing this week. But we'll see. Hopefully they're never near each other. King says, can you trust Christopher Bell in this one? Yeah, I can trust him. He's a very good play. Starting 35th, he doesn't really need to do much for us. So yeah, you can play Christopher Bell. Cooter says, have you seen Boyer's paint scheme? Yeah, I did. Wasn't it like the back-to-back World War Champs thing from Barstool? Yeah, he's got an interesting paint scheme this week. Joey says, I'm hoping with the Corona shutting down sports and there being more time, first-time NASCAR DFS players, that they don't know how to play this race. I think that's certainly going to be a thing. I don't think it's going to be like a huge portion of the entries this week, but there's definitely going to be new people that are going to be playing the guys at the front, playing your best drivers. So that's not something you typically want to do at Talladega. Wyatt says, favorite no-name guy? Probably like a Timmy Hill or Garrett Smithley, just because they're starting all the way back, and they're probably not going to have too much ownership just because they're Timmy Hill and Garrett Smithley. Gambling says, McLeod in the 77 Spire car with the sponsor. Great back marker to start that. Yeah, he's starting 30th, which makes it a little iffy, but he should be fine today. Anyone that's 30 and back. And McLeod had some decent runs at super speedways before. Nick says, Boyer or Kyle Busch? I'll go with Boyer just because he's starting 10th, but I don't really have too much interest in either. Wyatt asked Timmy Hill. Yeah, Hill's fine. Starting 38th, there's not much downside at all. Michael says, is Byron being slept on? I think he's going to be very low owned. I kind of agree with him being low owned, but I guess you could say he's being slept on. Dave says, Keselowski and DiBenedetto. Keselowski, I like Team Penske today, but I'm lowest on Keselowski just because he's starting 6th. Well, he would be one of my picks to win this race. He has 2 wins here recently. Team Penske has been dominant. He's been in the optimal lineup before. He's one of the best average laps led per race here, right behind Logano, one of the best average running positions. Keselowski's fine. He can't win this race, but starting 6th, he is pretty risky. And MDB, starting 23rd, I believe, he's fine. He's actually pretty solid at super speedways, but he tends to get caught up on the wrecks, which is unfortunate for him. But I can see him having a good run today. He's in the Wood Brothers car, kind of Team Penske affiliate, so I could see him running well. Just got to avoid the wrecks. Matt says, JJ Yeley not a must start. Well, I wouldn't say he's a must, but he's certainly someone I'm playing because he's starting 34th. So, yeah, definitely in play. Dude says over-under on total car flips today. Well, I think the way they had their package set up today, they're trying to avoid those car flips. So I would take the under because they don't want a replay of what happened to Ryan Newman at Daytona. So I would take the under, but hopefully any of the guys that, if they happen to flip, not my guys. Mike says, I feel like I'm underweight on Bell trying to be different. Should I make my changes at other spots? I think that's fine. If you want to be underweight on chalk, you can certainly do that. Just because, look, this race, if there's any race to be underweight on chalk, it's a race like Daytona or Talladega. So I do not blame you there. And you could definitely be higher in other spots just to be different. Certainly work. Matt says, Smithley, could you click on his name to start? Yeah, I have some Garrett Smithley. He's starting dead last. The worst he can give us is 4 points. That's the absolute worst. Blake says, I only have one guy starting in the top 15, but only have 600 left over. Kind of worried. That's interesting. Would you mind dropping me your lineup? I'm kind of just curious. Wyatt says, McDowell, Priest, LaJoy, or Custer. Who do you like the most and least? I like the most there, Priest. I like the least, probably Custer. Kicks Good says, thoughts on Bubba Watson? Isn't that a golfer? I know you probably mean Bubba Wallace. Is Bubba Watson a golfer? I don't watch golf. I just feel like that's a golfer. But yeah, Bubba Wallace is fine. He's starting 24th. He doesn't have good history at Talladega, but again, if you avoid the wrecks, you'll be fine. He's in a weird spot starting 24th, but he's the guy I'm sprinkling in. Definitely not someone I'm trying to be even or overweight on the field on, but he'll be low on for tournaments if that's what you're interested in. Andre says, I just signed up for Patreon, but I can't find the projections. Okay, so there's a post. That's the article I wrote, and then there's a post for my spreadsheet. Everything's on the spreadsheet, so you guys are looking at my spreadsheet right now. You can see a tab. It's called Main Sheet, I think. Then right there, projections, then power rankings, heat map, previous optimal lineups, green flag speeds, driver exposures that I have, starting position track stats, cheat sheet, past Dega slate analysis, my worksheet, all that good stuff. It's all there. Hopefully that would help you. Ryan says, I thought there would be more wrecks yesterday in Xfinity. I remember one Xfinity race I watched for, I think it was Daytona. They ran single file the entire race. Xfinity is usually not as exciting as the Cup Series. Jeremy says, who is Bubba Watson? I think he's a golfer. I might be wrong, but I think I remember seeing that name in PGA before. Devin says, Brendan Gaughan is sneaky. I don't know if you're being sarcastic, but I think he might be the highest owned driver on the slate. Tony says, have a good day and dismiss these Yeah, I don't know. It was weird today. Usually people are pretty nice in the chat, but there's a couple bad apples today, but it's okay. It doesn't bother me. Family Man says, Chris, you don't talk too much. That's why you're here. For everyone should be thankful. Yeah, in real life, I don't talk really at all. I'm a very quiet person, so this is the time I talk. And I do like talking and chatting up with you guys. Miami says, Happy Father's Day, fellas. Yeah, anyone that's a father, Happy Father's Day. You're welcome, Adam. Sincere Miller says, just joined your Patreon last night. Appreciate that, Miller. Very nice of you. I just with the chat went all the way up. Second. Just checking how many people are in here. Still over 300. That's awesome. Probably going to go about an hour today, so just keep answering some questions. Let's see. Doug says, just in case the speed does affect the cars in ways that are more safe to drive and more cautious, I do have an all-stud lineup. But yeah, I certainly understand that. There is a scenario where the less horsepower could make it a little bit more of a cautious race and they don't tear up the cars. But these guys, I mean, you can see that for the majority of the race, but at the end of the race, these guys want to win, and there's probably going to be some aggressive moves that lead to some wrecks. But I certainly get your reasoning. Nick says, perfect. Thanks, Chris. You're welcome, Nick. Mr. Big Time says, Priest. Yeah, I like Priest. I think he's one of the better plays on the entire slate. Suave says, do you like Hamlin? I mean, I like him. I think he's going to have a good race, but starting second, there's very little upside there. Very little upside. Dominique says, weather looks bad. Does it? That's unfortunate. I'm hoping it stays clean today, but hate the rain, man. Every time there's a NASCAR race, there's always a threat for rain. Every single time. Dustin says 48 came back through and passed. Oh, Elliot's running the Little Caesars today. I always like that car. But thank you, Dustin, for the update. Its review says, who's your favorite driver of all time? Tony Stewart when I was little. Like, I'm only 21, so I don't have like a long history of any of the old drivers. But growing up, I loved Tony Stewart. And obviously, he's not racing anymore. So now it's Ryan Blaney. Dude says, Chris doesn't take anything from the trolls, so shave it back. Yeah, you can't just come in here and be mean to me like that. I'm not going to take that. And Dustin says, 10 going through tech now. Barry says, I'm great with questions. Appreciate it, Barry. I'm answering it to my best ability. I don't want to give you guys an essay for it. King says, Priest or Ty Dillon, and thanks for all you do. Don't sweat these useless trolls. Appreciate it, King. I would say Ty Dillon. They're very close, but Ty Dillon just has a really good track record here, and he's starting 2 spots further back. They're close to the same place, but I will take Ty Dillon there. Mike says, is there anyone... Mouth's so dry. Is there anyone 30 back that you're all out fading? Not purposely. I mean, the lowest I'd be on guys is like Quinn Houff, just because he's Quinn Houff. No one likes Quinn Houff. He always makes my guys in the other races he gets in their way and goes slow. So we didn't have a good history together. GQ says thoughts on Buescher seemed under the radar. Yeah, he should really be under the radar today. I don't have much interest in him personally, but he's okay. Starting 21st, there's a lot of room for error. Like Stenhouse is 1 spot ahead of him. I'd much rather play Stenhouse. But if you want to get different in tournaments, you can play Buescher and Nemechek. I don't think they're going to have like any exposure today. Wouldn't surprise me if they're less than 10% owned. Dino Johnson says, thanks for your great analogy. Game on. Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it. Adam says, gone, exclamation point. Yeah, I'm all for gone today, if that's what you're asking. I think he's one of the best plays on the slate. Gaming with Jake says, Harvick, Kyle Busch, or Hamlin if you had to start one in cash games? Neither. None. You don't play those guys in cash. It's not how it works here. Not how it works. Do not play those guys in cash games. Look, it could work out where they don't wreck and they finish really high, but you do not want to take that risk in cash games for sure. Wyatt says, how much MDB do I have? Not much. Less than 20%. Less than 20%. Tyler says 0% Bell. Give me the, hey, it could work out for you. I do not blame you. I personally have a lot of Bell, but I totally get the other side. I don't think you're dumb at all. It can certainly work out. Chuck says, do you feel like going almost 100% on Bell and Gone is too much? Yes. Because look, they're a tremendous plays, but say they wreck out early, you're ruining your chance for the optimal lineup, and I don't want to ruin your chance for the optimal lineup. So I would never play 100% of anybody, especially at a track like this. You can get away with it sometimes at, your intermediate tracks where there's not really much wrecks, but I would not go 100% on anyone at a track like this. Blake says, thoughts on Timmy Hill? Sorry if you answered already. No, it's fine. I know a lot of people can't be here the entire time. I'm not expecting all of you to be here for an hour. That's totally not reasonable. But yeah, Timmy Hill's fine, starting 38th. Look, if he stays clean the entire race and there's a big one, he's going to move up spots. He should be pretty good. Marky Mark says, wish you was a FanDuel guy with this info too. Yeah, I apologize, but I just feel like I wouldn't. I'm not used to FanDuel, so I'm just trying to stick with DraftKings, which is what I'm used to. But maybe one day we'll go to FanDuel. We'll see. Suave says, what about Brennan Poole? I think Brennan Poole is a good tournament option. He actually has had some success here at Super Speedway so far. Nothing at Talladega yet, but if we're looking at Super Speedways, he's got an average finish of 17, averaging 48 DraftKings points per race, 2 top 20s in 2 races. Poole's fine. I don't think he's going to have much ownership either, so definitely a tournament guy. Not obviously a cash game guy, but because he's starting 27th, but you can certainly look his way in tournaments. Bonnie says 50% of Suarez lawnmower too much. No, that's fine. It's close to what I think he's probably going to be around 30 or 40% today. And if you want to be overweight on that, I think that's fine because he's starting 37th. Just right around the back, avoid the wrecks, move up, and Suarez should be fine today. SSG says, thanks for always answering and having good convo and Patreon. Oh, you're Patrick. Oh, yeah. Always nice talking to you in the Discord chat. It's always a good time in there. Thanks for stopping by the live stream. Alan says Suarez or Ty Dillon. I would go with Ty Dillon. Suarez is just a tiny bit safer, but Ty Dillon's got that higher finishing potential in my opinion. Mr. Miyagi says, I hope they don't start the race to the point it becomes official and then rains. Yeah, that would suck. That happened one of the Daytona races, not the Daytona 500, where I think Justin Haley won. And the stack that there was a crash before the rain because they were getting a little bit more racy because they knew the rain was coming. But yeah, wasn't a fan of it. Landon says, good morning, Chris. I'm very excited for this race. Me too. I love Talladega. That, Daytona, Martinsville, Bristol, some of my favorite tracks. Jake says, stacking routes for GPP. Yeah, that can work out. Wouldn't blame you there. Stup says, did the quality of the competition go up in higher priced tourneys or are the rich people as dumb as the rest? No, the good drivers are going to be very high on the higher dollar tournaments. Like, let's say Gaughan's going to be 50% today in the big one. He's probably going to be close to 80% in like the $121 single entry. So, yeah, the good plays will be higher on there for sure. Adam says, Priest, Bell, Gaughan, Ty Dillon, Logano, Blaney. Yeah, it's good. I mean, you got 2 guys inside the top 12, which can be a little risky, but Logano and Blaney have race-winning upside. I like them, and you got a good mix of guys starting in the back. So I think that's pretty solid. Mr. Q says, the GP exposure spreadsheet, is that your exposures or what? Okay, so I don't, it's not my expected ownership, it's what I personally have, and I don't have it there just so you guys just to like blindly follow it. It's just for full transparency so you know exactly what I'm going because I like to be transparent so you guys can use that as like what's the word I'm trying to look for? I don't know, it's just so you compare your own, or if you want to follow it, you can, or you can just compare yours to mine. That's all it is. Miami says, all Bubba's matter. For sure. I like Bubba. I think I follow him on Twitter. He's a cool guy. Mike says, Watson golfs and not very good. Okay, I thought he was a golfer. Greg says, Blaney, Bell, Gaughan, Ty Dillon, Suarez, Priest. Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's a great lineup. I'm sure I have that. Ryan says, did we already talk about Lamo or Suarez? Yeah, we did. Spit all over my laptop. But Suarez is definitely in play today. One of the better plays in the entire slate, as gross as that sounds. Let's see. Blake says, Elliott, Bell, Stenhouse, Gaughan, Ty Dillon, Priest. Yeah, excellent lineup. I like that. Eden says, Bubba hit a -6 today. Really? I don't really follow golf, but I know that's good. Undeniable Truth says, Harvick, not really on my radar. Look, if he wins the race, he'll be fine. But again, there's very minimal PD upside for Harvick. So just kind of staying away from those guys in general. Mike's answering questions for me, which I do appreciate. Because it's pretty much exactly what I would say. So you're doing a good job out here, Mike. Nick says, is there a way to see average ownership for winning lineups at Talladega? Interested to see if it's normally 5% one offer. If you mean past ownerships on slate, you can get Fantasy Cruncher Pro, and then you can actually look at the previous ownerships. If that's not, or if you're just asking about previous optimal lineups, you can probably find that there too as well. Oh, that's Andrew. DFS by the number says race day. Yeah, you can check out his content too. He does the UFC, he does NASCAR. I mean, he's awesome with UFC. He knows everything about it. We actually live close to each other, and he always talks about it. So, yeah, if you certainly want some UFC advice, hit up Andrew's channel, DFS by the numbers. All right. Okay, I had to scroll down a little bit. Jay Smoke says, what's going on, bro? I don't know about you. I really like Eric Jones this week. I feel like if he avoids the wrecks, he could finish in the top 5 for real. Yeah, it's just risky. He's starting 18th, so that's why it's like, do I really want to play him? I'd rather play the guys starting like 20-ish and back. And Eric Jones does not have a good track record at Talladega, which I know he's just getting caught up in wrecks, and you cannot project wrecks. But it's not been smooth sailing for Eric Jones yet. I believe he has 2 top 20s, though. He's okay. He's going to be sneaky. I don't expect him to have too much ownership. When he is cheap, it's not like salary really matters this week, but he's a tournament option, but not someone I'm really excited about. I think my voice just cracked. Upper Deck says, what was the starting position percentage for the optimal lineups for the past races? Okay, if you mean like average starting spots, this is off the top of my head. It might be a little off, but from 1 through 10, it's 1 driver on average. From 11 through 20, it's 1. I don't know, it's like 1 or something, and then in the 20s, it's like 2.25, and in the 30s, it's like 1.5. So basically, the guys further in the back tend to be in the optimal lineup more often than not. Michael says, Suarez or Logano in cash? Such a weird question to ask, and this is such a weird answer, but it's Suarez for me. I know, right? It's weird. Cyber says, who's your pick to get the checkered flag? Logano. Yeah, I say Logano. I think it's going to be either Blaney, Elliott, or Logano, but I'm going to go with Joey. Upper Deck says, do you have a Venmo? I do not. I have a Cash App and PayPal, but I do not have a Venmo. All right, let's see. Where are we at? Mr. Q says, should we stack the back for GPP even though that's where all the ownership is? Yes, because I don't know why, but not enough people still do it where it's still profitable, and it's pretty much what you have to do. I mean, that's how the optimal lineups are every time. So I know it's going to be decently chalky, but it's what you have to do here. Easy says, just finished lineups for the week. Good luck, everyone. Go have a cold one with your old man. Yeah, I got my lineups done. I'm going to go outside and tan because it's sunny in Ohio. How about that? Let's see, where we at? Nick says no dominators and PD only. I mean, you could take some stabs at dominators like Joey Logano, Blaney, Elliott, those kind of guys, but I'm not really targeting dominators. Like, you don't need to play Truex, Kyle Busch, and Hamlin if they dominate the race, because the fast laps are completely random throughout the field. Laps led are only worth 0.25 points, and leading laps here can interchange very often because all the cars are in tight packs. They're driving right next to each other. It's going to be very neck and neck. Yeah, they're going to be single file for a decent amount of this race just because they're not going to go 2 wide the entire race, 3 wide, because that's just not usually what happens. It's going to be more racy at the end, but yeah, guys are going to lead laps, but the fast laps, which are the most important because they're worth 0.5 points, it's going to be spread throughout the field, so not really focused on dominators at all. All right, I had to scroll down a little bit because I can't be here all day long. Brooklyn, I'm not answering your question, Brooklyn. You were so mean to me earlier. I'm not going to answer your question. Come on. Sarah says, you're awesome. Almost won big last week. Hope to have a big takedown. Awesome, Sarah. Hopefully you can. I mean, it's going to be a very wild race. I mean, it's going to interchange from lap to lap. Like, if you're winning a bunch of money with 2 laps to go, there's a chance you just get completely crushed with the last lap. Like, it's very crazy here. But I'm not going to be here too much longer, guys. It's been an hour, and I think we all need to build some lineups and finish up. I see a lot of people here in Ohio. David says, what city in Ohio? I live in Ohio. I live like Akron, Canton area, kind of around there in northeast Ohio. Kyle lives in Ohio too. Let's see. David lives in Mansfield. That's pretty close to me. Pickerington, Ohio. Not sure where that is, but nice to see people are from Ohio. Mike says, Chris, I was winning first last Sunday with 49 laps left. I feel like I was like really close to the front at one point, and then I forget what happened. No, I wasn't. I'm thinking of the last race, but on the Apple says LBJ fan. Yeah, love LeBron. Favorite basketball player of all time. I know he left Cleveland. It does hurt a little bit, but I understand. All right. Ryan says Christopher Bell or Keselowski single entry. I'll go Christopher Bell there. John's from Ohio as well. Upper Decks is from Austin, Texas. Jealous. I'd much rather be in Austin, Texas than Ohio for sure. Pecans in New York City. Nice. All right, I think I'm going to get out of here soon. Chris from Cleveland. I know Chris from Cleveland. A little roll call here. All right, I just saw that Chris Keating signed up on Patreon. Really do appreciate that, Chris. I don't know if you're still watching this, but Wow, a lot of people are actually in Ohio here. That's crazy. All right, I'm probably gonna get out of here, guys. If I didn't answer your question, it is nothing personal, but personal. I just can't be here all day. Got to put some on. Got to get in the Discord and answer some questions. K-Sizzle just got here, so I'm gonna give you an exception. Watch the other videos, but to recap, stack the back for GPP and cash. Yes, but in GPP you can take some stabs at guys starting up front, like Logano, those kind of guys. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully this live stream was helpful. I really do enjoy doing these every single week with you guys. It's always a fun time. For the most part, everyone in here is awesome. And you're welcome, Bonnie. See you, Mike. And I'm going to get out of here. Wish you guys the best of luck today. And if you just got in here late, you can watch it on replay. See ya.